Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modeling tutorial. And today in this episode what I think we'll do is we will have a look at building a spoiler for the back here. Hopefully maybe get the window and things into, but we're going to jump on the spoiler first. We do need to add a lot more details in the rear portion of this car, but the rest so far is looking pretty good. So I think what we'll do is I've had a look online to see what kind of spoilers that we have. And we don't really have too many options. The only real options that we have are either a little kind of duckbill extension onto the Spyder, unless we was to go for something more aftermarket, which I don't really want to put anything aftermarket on this car. I think it looks pretty cool as is. But what I was looking at was there is a small extension just to the rear portion here, and it's kind of split into three parts. We've got a part that sits over here, a part that goes on here, and then a part that sits over there, and it's got like an integrated rear tail light as well. So let's maybe have a go for that. So I'm just going to grab these and take away the smooth. Let's see, so it looks like we could put it quite nicely on here, so I'll maybe start with a plane for this. Let's just bring this up into position, and let's take away all of those extra subdivisions that we don't want. So I think what we'll do is we'll grab these vertices, and I'm going to hold down V, and if it will let me, I must have transform on, which I do. So I'm going to hold down V, and we're going to bring it down into this corner here, and then we'll do the same over there. Actually, what we could do, it might be a little bit messy, but let's maybe just grab these two here and just isolate the selection. What we could do is let's take all these faces here. Because I'm looking at it, looks like maybe there is a little bit of extra lip that's left behind. So we take all of these, and I'm going to go to edit mesh and duplicate on there. So now we have those extra faces just here, and then let's just do the same one here. So to select these and this, and we'll say edit mesh, and we'll duplicate those as well. So we're just going to duplicate those faces there, so that's already kind of pre-built for us. So let's go and select the face for these, and let's try and select the face for these ones too. See if we can do it all in one. I'll take all of that. Okay, I'll hit Control E. I'm just going to pull this up here on the blue. And it does look like it's actually somewhat significant, what we have here. Also narrow that down a little bit, but it does look like it's quite a significant climb. So maybe something like that. And obviously it does get smaller as it gets to the end, so we'll sort that in a second. But I think that looks okay. It looks like, annoyingly, I'll just dial that back, because annoyingly it selected the faces of the actual one. So maybe what I'll do here is I'll just grab these and isolate this selection just real quick. Take all of that, let's hit Control E, and we'll just do the same. So we'll pull up, and then we'll make it a little bit thinner. It does look like it gets very thin, so we'll go something like that. We will need to obviously fix it as we come inside there, but that's okay. We'll maybe move that up. So I think we'll look something like that. Okay, let's get rid of that there. Okay. Okay, so let's now go in here and we'll do some little edits here. So what I'll do for this point is, this looks really small, so I'm going to hold down V, bring it over here, and then just snap that up there, and then do the same here. like that. And I think we also want this to be coming in this direction, so maybe let's go and transform this onto the edge. So something like that, and then a bit closer together. Okay, let's take all of these a little bit closer together. What I'll do is let's take those, because that looks horrible there. So we'll just take those away just now. And then we can add that in again in a second. Bring that something like that. So we're just trying to match that as we come along there. Let's also just get rid of this as well. To make it a little bit easier for us. What we could also do at this stage is let's just maybe just combine these together. And then I'm just going to bridge. That gap. We'll just make it a little bit easier for us as we're putting this together. What we do want to do is we probably want this to kind of follow along this line a little bit better. So let's maybe put on our edge slide here. Because obviously we do want this to want this to have a little bit of a break inside it. So find a good balance going between those, like that. And bring those over there. Okay, so we're going nice and straight around that corner with those, which is fine. Maybe match that up a little bit better, and then on here, what we could maybe do is, just to make this easier, is we could snap. And then run along the edge there. And then let's just do the same, snap over here and then run along this edge. Okay. And then without that transform, you can click on the right one. Just going to pull this back. Okay, so that's looking okay. I'm just going to grab all of these, because obviously the curvature that we have here is going to be fine. So let's take all of this, and I'm going to push this back, just so that we've got that curve running all the way around there, which looks fine. And let's just grab all of these as well and move that back too. Okay, and then maybe down a bit as well. Okay, here maybe soften that off a little bit better. Okay, just going to check my top view just to make sure we're looking good up here, which I think we are. Maybe that's a bit too much. Bring that down a bit. Okay, so do something like that. Let me real quick, I'm just going to add a different material, so I'm just going to go for the original Lambert if I've still got it, which I do, just to kind of make it a little bit easier to recognize what bit's what. Okay, so that's looking okay. Let's just give that actually, just here, it's a bit too high. Just going to gradually reduce that down. Okay, Over here, what I think we're going to want to do is maybe with, let's see, it goes to about the badge, so let's jump in here. So where we have the R8 badge, we can see we've already got the light just there. So I think what we want to do is we maybe want to bring these diagonally a little bit. And the same there. Just because we do have a little extrusion here to make. Okay. I'm just going to hit 3 and just see how we're looking. We're looking okay, that's nice and smooth, which is good. So let's think about this then. So let's go and grab all of these portions, and I'm going to hit Control E. It's a bit harder without the blueprint obviously, but we can make it work. So we're going to bring that in. Just something like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the vertices inside here for each of these. I'll maybe pull that down. I think maybe a bit further forward. Okay, and then these ones here. I'll maybe pull these up. Something like that, so that we can get the brake light kind of integrated into this instead of integrating it into the body. So let's do that. Just get rid of that face. That's not looking too bad. Maybe what we should actually do, I'm just going to dial that back to just before the extrusion. We are going to do roughly the same thing, but I'm thinking maybe what we should actually do first is I'm going to drop a loop that runs about here, and then a loop that runs down here. And now I'm going to extrude. So take those, I'm just going to do exactly the same. I'm just going to pull that in. I'm going to pull that in on the blue arrow there. And maybe I'm just going to put it up on the green, something like that. So again, this is where the tail light will sit. This is where we could integrate it in. And then obviously we've pulled these up here, so we can grab these back, bring these down. Something more like that. Okay. And then let's just delete that central face. So I think we just needed that little bit of extra structure in there just to kind of help us as we go. So that's looking not too bad just now. So let's go then and have a go at smoothing this off. So I think what we're going to want to do is I'm going to grab my edge loops and we're going to drop one on either side here and here. So that's going to help shore up this area. I'm just going to smooth the body parts as well, just so we can see how we're sitting on those. So we're sitting on those quite nice. We've got this little nick in the side here, which is exactly what we do have on the original, which is good. Maybe drop in a loop just here. So that's looking quite nice. Let's have a look here then. So let's grab an edge loop, and we're obviously going to want to drop some here and here. Okay. And then let's just see how it looks if we drop a loop just there. Oh, whoops. Missed my 3. Okay. So it looks okay. Let's maybe get these ones here. just going to pull these back a little bit just to help offset the straight angle that we have on there. And I'm doing this whilst it's subdivided. Okay. Okay, so that's looking quite good. Let's go in here then and let's insert some edge loops. We'll drop one just here and here, which looks like it should be fine on both sides. So I'll grab that and hit delete. Okay. So now if we hit 3 on there, we've got that nice little difference inside. I think that's looking quite nice. It's looking a little bit soft along this bottom edge, but before we do that, I'm just going to hit mesh and let's go for a separation here. And let me isolate that selection. We'll see real quick. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly get rid of these, just so it's nice and easy to merge these together. So we'll just go and we'll bridge the gap here, here, and here. I'm just going to do the same on here. Let's get rid of this and this. Holding Control D to do that. And then let's go here. We'll bridge there, there, and there. Okay, so that will allow us now to re-add in those loops. Oh. Looks like I must have forgot to hit Control Delete on some of those. Everything. I'm just going to hit delete with my vertices selected in the hopes that we can get rid of those. So it didn't actually delete all of these, so that's the problem as well. So I'm going to hold Control and hit delete on those. Okay, so we should now hopefully be able to run an edge up here, which we still can't. Try one more time, and if not, we'll just bridge the gap in between. So we can't, so that's a bit awkward, but okay, we'll drop these in here and here. It's probably better actually because we can go nice and close on the top and bottom. So we'll do that, and then it's just been a little bit awkward, so let's go and edit mesh. I'm just going to merge those and then these ones too. So unfortunately the bridge hasn't seemed to work too well here. Hopefully it'll be better on the other side. I don't know if it's just because of those missed lines across the top. Merge those and those. Okay, so that's looking a little bit better on there. Okay. And then hopefully we won't have the same problem here, so let's go Mesh Tools. Okay, that's fine on this side. Okay, so that's not looking too bad. I'm maybe just going to grab all of this. I'm just going to try and improve that curvature. Okay. That's looking good. I'm just having a look on here. It doesn't look like these are as tight on that edge as they could be. So maybe I'm going to have to insert a loop across here and across here. So I'm going to drop in a point. I'm going to go for an insert edge loop here. And then I'm just going to continue that down all the way into that corner and see how that looks. Okay, so that looks a lot tighter where they're joining there, so that's good. Okay, so that's looking quite nice. Maybe what we could do is have a go at duplicating the special here and here. Let's see how that looks all the way across. Okay, so I think that's looking good. So let's maybe jump in close with this one, because it looks like awkwardly a little bit of a problem here. Actually, it looks like we've got extra edges there for some reason, so let's maybe just target weld those up. Like that. And we want to grab all this edge. I'm just going to straighten that off and then hold X and just make sure it's snapped into the center. Okay, and we can see that's going to a point, which again is not going to be an issue when they're all merged together. What might be quite nice is if we can get that straightened off a little bit more. Okay, just see how it looks from this side. Okay, so what I'll probably do is I'll probably fine tune this again just between episodes, so we're not wasting too much time, but I think that's looking okay. And then for now what we can do is, I'm just going to drop the darker blend on those. Okay, so I think that's looking a lot better when we come around, especially this front side. We can see that we've got a little bit more kind of going up there as we come around the side, and then to the back we've just got a little bit more definition in there, which is quite nice. Got a couple of minutes left, so maybe what we'll do is let's finally throw this window in, and I think what we'll do is maybe let's just go for a plane inside here, rather than extruding off like we did with the previous. And I'm just going to go for 0 and 0, or 1 and 1 should I say. Okay, and I think with this we're just going to want to maybe eyeball it into the correct spot. Let me remove the smooth on here, because obviously we can utilize the vertices that we have up here. Let's maybe go and drop this in some key points. Remove the smooth on here as well. So let's go and isolate, if it will let me select. Okay, so let's go in here then and think about how we're going to do this. So maybe we'll take this one up here. Oops, holding V instead of B. I'm just going to drop these roughly in these spots just now, something like that. Because I wanted to get it obviously nicely within this trim area that we've made, so let's drop that further towards the back. Okay. And then what happens at the front here is that this is going to sit slightly behind, and then it's actually just going to drop behind because there's no trim on the Spyder version. There's no lower trim, especially for the outside of the window. Let's go and take this, and I'm going to extrude out just the once. And I'm just trying to lay it out at the bottom the best I can. Let's go there. And just pull that down. And let's maybe go here. Just at the back there. It's a little bit awkward. It would be much easier if the bottom here was matching the amount of subdivisions at the top, but I don't really want to affect what we have with any other geometry, so we're just really going to get this and drop it into position behind here. And this is probably again something I'll fine tune in between videos, so we're not wasting too much time on it. The idea here is that we just want to bring this in on here. Once I'm happy with these kind of lower points and how they're sitting, it's going to allow me to I'll just pull this down a little bit. It's going to allow me to go in here and drop in multiple edge loops. So I'm going to say insert edge loop, and we'll maybe need to drop for each of those major top ones. So we'll just drop along here, something like, I think that one goes there anyway, it does. So the lower ones we're more or less going to leave unless we need to move them. I'm just going to snap these up here, something like that. Drop all of those in. I'm just holding V again to snap all of these to that fold on the side. Maybe with this one, let's just go up here instead. Okay. Let's maybe take that one. Actually, no, let's keep that over there. Okay. Let's go for some horizontal ones then. Let's maybe drop one just here. And as we're dropping these in, we're just going to want to make sure maybe that we're coming out a little bit. And then we want to grab the individual edges here and just make sure that we're just as smooth as if we was working on any of the body lines here. Go there. And this one could maybe just drop down here for now. We'll go for another one down here. And again, I just want to check that line, make sure it's looking good. I think that's okay. Take that back. I just want to make sure we're covering over here, which we are. Okay. This doesn't need to be perfect, obviously, and then what I'm going to do over here is just drop a point here and a point here, which will allow me to take that over there. Now I'm not too fussed about them being end guns, because it is just a window, but what I'll do is I'll maybe plot some lines in there for them, and then just make sure it's looking nice and smooth for the most part. And then for now, let's drop on a blend. Okay, so in between episodes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through and just make sure that window is perfect. So I'm going to run through, I'll maybe plot the lines, so maybe add a couple of triangles or something inside there to plot those a little bit better. And then just make sure it's nice and smooth. Obviously we want to be subdividing this as well, so we'll be hitting 3 on that and just making sure that's looking nice. Get rid of the wireframe. We can see that there's no real crazy waviness to that when the shine's hitting it, which is good. Let's maybe, I think this one should probably be fine as is. So we could probably, before we do, let's quickly just change the material to that same blend. I'm going to quickly just combine them, then separate them, just so that I can quickly do my duplicate special on them as well. Because we've got all the glass in there as well, so we're currently looking really good. We've got a lot of this nailed now. I think it's looking a lot better now that that glass is in. I think it's definitely looking better now the spoiler's in. Again, I'm probably going to adjust that a little bit in between episodes just to make sure everything's nice and smooth. It looks a lot better in the rear than it does at the front. I don't know if there's any major waviness, maybe a little bit just here. So that's what I'm going to look to rectify in between episodes. In the next episode, what we'll maybe do is we are going to have to now come around this rear side. It might be nice to get the exhaust tips done too, but then we've got the grills and the vents and things up there as well to plot in. So if you enjoyed the video, guys, please hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down, and I will see you in the next one.